Okay. Yeah, I'll remove you here. Yeah. Hi guys, how we all doing today? Hello, 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 hello. So I always how we doing? To be very sincere, how have you been? How is life? How is COVID? I always use the Nigerian president's word. How is COVID? How is COVID-19? Hope you are feeling well. They extended the lockdown for Nigeria for Lagos and Ogun State for another 2 weeks. And most people are not happy just because, to be very sincere with you, there's no light, there's no constant it's not like there is food somewhere, people are working. So hi Bukola me. Yeah, so I'm gonna have my guest and it's exciting. So today I'm gonna have my friend, my sister. Her name is Seyi Farinu, and she'll be talking everything jollof.
Hello.
Loud and clear. So I think that my Samsung is always like tweaky sometimes when
Okay.
it comes to things like this. But how are you doing?
I'm
You're
good.
looking really fresh. Please give me your secret. Just a little. I need a little secret to your freshness. Little, just a little.
It's just God. No joke. I'm serious.
So wait, you know people that always say this is just God. I'm always angry. Let me tell you why I'm angry.
Why?
Because I don't understand. Is it like me, I don't have God, or you think I don't have Jesus? They're not thinking that it's just God. You know, people just say that, "Oh, it's just God."
It's the grace of God.
It's the grace of God. I know.
I-
But it is well. Have you been? Are you? So for my guests that don't know you, you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. Are you
Okay.
working or are you enjoying the COVID break? COVID-19. Yeah, that's what our president in Nigeria said.
Oh,
COVID
really?
COVID-19. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Seyi Farinu. Um,
Guys, she's Yoruba. Let me just tell you, she's Yoruba, but
well, I don't speak
Yoruba
your.
has A1.
I unfortunately don't speak Yoruba, and I'm also half Igbo, but I also don't speak Igbo. So yeah, I'm Nigerian Canadian,
Guys.
as you can tell. Um, I'm a pastry chef, a trained chef, went to culinary school and all that. I'm also a nutrition manager at uh, like a senior residence home. So I manage diets, I manage staff, and just all around people management and like people's food management kind of
Oh,
thing.
nice.
I manage cooks and dietary aides just to make sure that um, everything's going smoothly, residents are getting fed, nutritional the nutritional needs are being met.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's what I do most of the time.
So
And
sorry to digress a little bit because I know that right now, even in Alberta now, they're like trying to send more doctors and more health workers to the seniors homes just because of like the rise of the COVID amongst them. So what's going on in
yeah.
BC right now?
I'm not like I know there are some homes, some senior homes that have a lot of residents affected, a lot of staff affected, but it's not from the residents because the residents have been in their home like
Okay.
so it's people bringing it in to the
Hmm.
homes, right? So like staff or families who traveled bring it home, bring it, let's come visit their residents or come work. And because the residents that we care for are like age 80 to like 120 type, right?
Wow.
So yeah, so they are more susceptible to all these different diseases and they're at a higher risk.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, some homes are affected, up to like 40 residents. But
Wow.
the home I work at, I covered everyone with the blood of Jesus, even if they don't believe in Jesus. I was like,
Wow.
I was like, no, 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 no one is gonna get sick here, because you know, as children of God, we are supposed to stand watch
Yeah.
over like wherever we are,
Yeah.
regardless of, right. So I just, yeah, I like prayed over everyone.
Yeah, I think on Sunday, if there was nothing to remember from the class I had on Sunday, and speaker was saying that because you have God inside of you, wherever
Yeah,
you go, even if God was not there, like
yeah,
in his presence, like
yeah,
when you get there, he's already there, and we have to
yeah.
carry that consciousness.
Consciousness,
I
yeah,
really agree with what you said, that once you carry that consciousness of the fact that anywhere I enter, God is there the moment
yeah,
I enter into the place, it
yeah.
changes your mindset about
It
how you
does.
even relate to people.
Yes, and like that mercy by proxy,
Yeah,
right? So you're
yeah,
like God, I'm here, you know, please honor your word, and no one can get sick here. So
mm.
yeah, so
That's
that,
amazing.
yeah, so like in the home I work at, we have two buildings, right? No
Yeah,
one is like, no one has the COVID. They have like other symptoms, like flu-like symptoms, like just growing
right.
old, you
Yeah,
know, growing old sickness kind of thing,
yeah.
right? So, but no one is having the COVID. No. So,
That's
yeah.
that's good. That's
Well,
good.
yeah.
So a lot of people have this thing. I mean, I think I personally have it. When I was younger, I used to like frying stuff, making stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, we'll make chin chin. My mom will make meat pie. We'll make buns. We'll make puff puff. Like I
Yeah.
loved all those things. By the time she traveled and I was in Nigeria, I kept doing it. I saw that. Then I had this friend that used to bake, so I used to help her. But I noticed that I didn't have, maybe I don't know if it's self-control, and I want to talk about it because people
Yeah.
have this mindset that when you go into the pastry or food business, you are going to like blow times 20 of your size.
Yeah.
And that was my fear. Like even till
Okay.
now, even though I can make all these, even sometimes I joke with you that I want to make all these things, but the
Yeah.
fear of I'm
You
gonna blow
never
up.
do. You never do, though. Like, I'm actually done.
I'm serious. And I still thought about it last week. I
Yeah.
wanted to make chin chin and puff puff because I just wanted to have like snacks in the house.
Yeah.
But I told myself that I personally know that I feel like I still have a fear of I don't have self control about this thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if when I just eat maybe 3 drops, I will blow up. You get that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And people, and I know I'm not the only person because I know someone that also told me the same, that she has that fear, that
Yeah.
she feels like if she does something like that to she's gonna get bigger. So
Yeah.
the question now is, and it's I don't think it's a bad thing, whatever shape or size you are.
Yeah.
I'm on a plus size, but like my point is, how are you doing it that you cook a lot? Like, oh my God, guys, Seyi cooks. Like, I don't know how she does it, but Farinu
I just
cooks.
don't like leftovers. So it means
So
I have
that's the thing. You
every day.
like she likes making food from the scratch. I don't mind eating like the same stew for like 5 days.
No, I get bored. It's boring. like
So
variety.
my question now is, how do you balance the all people having that mindset about
Yeah.
you had weight, you will be bigger, you'll be this, you'll be that. If you're in the pastry or in the food business, how do you watch yourself from? Because if you're stirring the cake, I'm licking it. If you're doing I'm licking the batter, I'm licking the flour with the batter, I'm licking everything. So how do you have that self-control?
Fun fact about me, I don't like cake. Like, I know it's so weird.
Sorry. Wait. What did you say?
I don't eat cake. Right? It's a take it or leave it thing. Like, I know I make a lot of cakes, but I don't really eat cake like that, right? I'm more of like a salty type person. I like savory foods, right? No,
I am in shock. If someone told me this, I will not believe the person.
no, I love cookies, right? But cake, I could take it or leave it, right? Like, it's not something that I would like be like, I'm craving cake, I got to have cake. So I don't know if I'm gonna be like a good like person for this, but one thing I'm going to say about self-control, I was reading this testimony book by Kenneth Copeland. There's like a whole bunch of lists of testimonies and everything. And this girl her testimony was she was struggling with her weight, right? There'll be some times where she'll be super heavy, sometimes where she'll be really skinny. So she was struggling with anorexia and bulimia and everything, right? And there was one day she was so over it and everything, right? And she prayed and asked the Holy Spirit to help her, like, curb her appetite, right? Because it's like, like it's not the food you eat, it's the amount, right? And so she just prayed. She was like that the Holy Spirit should help curb her appetite, right? And it was not like a thing that happened overnight, right? But gradually, right, she found that, so, like, she still eats, right? But at some point she gets super full, and it's like just the little things she ate, right?
Yeah.
So that was how her coping mechanism was, right? Asking God to help her, right? Because I believe, like, and he says he will do all things. It didn't specify what are the things that he's going to teach us, right? It didn't specify at all in the Bible. It says all things, right?
Yeah.
So it's us that put like a barrier to which things that we're going
to fix for us.
So if it's like an issue with self-control, an issue with, like, being worried, right? Just asking him, because I feel like what I do is my gift, right? It's my hands, right? And you can lose your gift, right?
True.
So if you're afraid to use your gifts because you're gonna get fat, you could lose your gift, right? And the people to which you're supposed to serve with your gift lose out, right? So it's not just about you, it just doesn't affect you, it also affects the people that you are called to serve with your gift, right? So with someone who, like, is struggling with, like, how do I balance between, like, baking and cooking, I really enjoy doing it, but I'm afraid that, I would get really fat, right? Just that discipline. Okay, so I'm eating this, I'm gonna work out. My cousin, she eats a lot. Like, she loves food, like, loves food. She's like the slowest eater, because she wants to enjoy every bite.
Yeah.
Right? And she loves a lot of food, right? But she works out, like, a lot, right? So she knows herself. She loves food, any kind of food. Sorry, any kind of food, right? But she knows herself that if she eats too much, she could add weight in places that she doesn't want to. So she works out a lot, right? Me, I go on diets.
Okay.
I go on, like, no carb diets. Like, if you check, so in my fridge, I have, like, all this, like, no carb things that I make, because I'm blessed enough that I can bake, right? So I could make these things that are super healthy and won't make me, like, super, like, overweight, and just, like, so I, like, go on, like, weird diets. Sometimes it doesn't work, I don't stick to it. Sometimes it works, and then I go back to, like, eating, like, cookies and stuff. So, but, like, my, like, sweets are never my issue.
You kind of create a balance for yourself.
Yes, right. So I know, like, okay, so I'm about, like, for my birthday, for example, I knew I was gonna, like, eat like crazy, right? So I decided pre-birthday, just little things, and I love greens, I love vegetables. So, even though I really, really, my favorite food is jollof rice, right? So, but still, we're, like, vegetables. So eat more vegetables, put more vegetables in it, like, grate carrot, and pretend, like, tell myself that it is, I just
let's say cookies, or it's something
like, I put a lot of, like, mushrooms in food and tell myself that is meat. And so, like, so it depends on your coping mechanisms, right? How, it works for you.
So something that in everything you said, which I believe that everyone has to take home today, is that never sit on any gifts God gives you.
Never.
Like, make sure that you utilize it, because you never know how your gift is not. Most times your gift is never for you.
It's actually never. It's never for you, right? Like a product, like my pastor always says, a product is not made for the product itself. It's made by the creator for the purpose the creator wants it to serve, right? So your gift is not meant for you. Like, like you benefit from it, right? But the original intent is not meant for you, right?
Yeah, you surely benefit from it, because even the Bible says that, see a man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings and not women.
Yeah.
So it means that in everything you're doing, to be very sincere with you, if you're diligent enough to work hand in hand with it, then it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the
So don't be
conversation
afraid,
of the
guys.
day.
If you want to bake, bake. Like, if you love doing it, just do it, right? And like, if you're really worried, right, just give it to people, right? Like,
Yeah,
because I used,
that's what I think I'm doing now. I
yeah,
just said,
just
okay. So someone told me she wants to bake. She wants to do a lot of like pastry stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, let me add mine today. Just make chin chin for me. I want like a big bowl of chin chin, or a big bag of chin chin, and just to munch on, basically.
No,
I think, okay, yeah.
no, when I said give it to people, like you bake, you yourself bake, and just give it to people, right?
Hmm?
You yourself,
It's not my talent.
I know you yourself bake, right? And just like call people. And this is a good time to like give it to people, right? Because people are stuck at home, right? So just bake, put in little bags and just be like, happy COVID. Here you go. Happy quarantine. Here's a bag of chin chin.
True. I'll think about it. And
Yeah,
I'll
you
get back
should.
to you.
I know you're probably not going to do it. But it's okay. No shade.
No words. No words. And someone asked that, do you taste cake? Like when you say you don't like cake, like, do you even taste?
I like with cake, you can't really yeah, it has to finish baking, right? Then when I decorate cakes, right? When I cut the top layer, I do taste, I do eat to make
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So I think that
Yeah,
answers that person's question. So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about growing up. Like, what was growing up like for you? Like, were you born in Canada? Did you move into the country? How? Because I remember that the last time I saw a chat to do with Dami, like the baking session you had with Dami,
Yeah.
one of the things that I didn't know before then until that day was, you said you love to put your culture into baking, and I was
Yeah.
like, how do you put your culture into baking? Like, baking is like the most it's like the most
It is the most
non-traditional thing to
scientific.
do, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It
So
is.
so how was
Yeah.
growing up like? Were you born here? Did you come from Nigeria over here? Or maybe you're from Ghana over here. Who knows?
I
And
wish I
how
was
did
from Ghana.
how
Continue.
I keep throwing this key away. Don't let me get you back. So the reason why I'm asking the question is because if you say that your tradition, you also incorporate your traditional or your tradition into baking. What tradition is that, and how did you incorporate it? So that kind of thing.
Okay, so I was born in Nigeria. I lived in Nigeria most of like my young life, right? So we moved to Canada close to 15 years ago. So I've been here for 15 years, right? Um, both my parents are pastors and they're missionaries, so they traveled a lot, right? Um, so when I meant like I put my culture into things, it is culture that I basically developed when I moved, when I was in Canada, right?
Okay.
Because we moved to Victoria, and it was very Caucasian, right? I was the only African person other than my brother in my entire school, right? So like because I was younger, so you had to assimilate to the culture you have,
Yeah.
like we're presently in, right? So, but when I moved for university to Saskatchewan, I met a lot of Nigerians. So I feel like Saskatoon made me Nigerian,
Wow.
right? So yeah, it is so weird. So Saskatoon made me Nigerian, like made me really Nigerian, because I met a lot of Nigerian people. I had like a lot of Nigerian like friends, and I got to like remember that, because when you assimilate, right, you go in, right, you basically lose your like your culture, your former self, right? So when
Yeah.
I moved to Saskatoon, I got to meet like Nigerians, went to Nigerian parties, and there's all this food, like,
Sorry, Okay.
No, like house, like birthday parties and like Nigerian
Okay.
parties, right?
Okay.
Nigerian parties. There's always like meat pie, chin chin, like there's never like I don't know, like a sandwich, like there's never like chips. Like I've never been to a Nigerian party where there's like chips, like or crackers and cheese. Like there's never all that stuff, right? So, so it's a lot of like very good food, right? So I always, I really, really enjoyed it, and it jogged all like memories from like growing up. My aunts used to like cook for us. My grandma, which was alive, used to cook for us and stuff like that, right? So it jogged a lot of memories. So now when I like bake, right, even though like most of the cakes I make is very I, most of the cakes I make is very, you know, like it's very Canadian, and but I try to add like different spins into my cakes. So like I made a cake live on dami.com, and it was just like a trial thing, right? It's like, oh, what's a popular drink that Nigerians love? Zobo, which is like the hibiscus drink, right? So just put in that spin into things, right? And also not just like my culture. I use a lot of like different cultures, right? A lot of like North African spices into my baking and things like that. So it's just basically, and it's just usually trials because I bake a lot of like wedding cakes and birthday cakes, but no one really wants like an extra like crazy flavor, right? Usually stick to like simple flavors to like please more people. So that's how I add like my culture and into like my baking, things like that.
So would I say what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing about you being Nigerian? Like what's that one thing that you've seen so many cultures here and there, and I personally, one of the things I like about being, let's say, Yoruba Nigerian is
Yeah.
I love pepper. Oh my god. I remember my first trip to Canada in 2011. I didn't eat throughout the flights
How
because
how how
the
long
food,
was the flight?
it was 2 days.
So you fasted for 2 days.
My sister, I think I took Coke, I took juice another place, like, but I didn't eat anything because I couldn't stand the fact that me will not eat pepe. Like, it's till now, it's still something I struggle with, to be very sincere with you.
Yeah.
That, let me tell you the most basic thing. Quinoa, that's supposed to be like the most, the most, how would I put it? You're not fighting with quinoa. Quinoa is
No
just
one
a
fights
very
with
cool
quinoa.
guy. I will have pepper.
But how?
I can't give you my magic sauce, but I still had pepper.
Okay. What is
So
like?
so tell me what's the most okay, you wanted to ask something.
No, no, no. I was going to answer your question, but say the question
Okay.
again.
Yeah, so what's the one thing you love about being Nigerian?
The food. I'm not gonna lie. For food wise, it is. I love rice. I love jollof rice. Like, I think I should be like a spokesperson, but like, I should like just start like I should join like the National Jollof Rice Association and just be like a spokesperson for jollof rice.
Maybe we can create something like that though. Like,
But to be honest, right, I've been cheated on Nigerian jollof rice, right,
why?
with Ghana jollof rice.
No, you're no longer Nigerian. Let's just take it out of the box for you.
I have been cheated.
This girl is the only Nigerian I know that likes Ghana jollof over Nigerian jollof. You're out of our association.
I have been cheated because it's just so good, right? And then I love like Nigerian soups because my mom is Igbo, right? And she makes like the best soups, like literally like the
Your
best
top
best.
three.
My best soup. Okay.
Yeah, the top three.
I like ogbono soup, right? I just like anything viscousy, right? Like I like that, that soup. I like begiri and ewedu together with stew, right? Like it's just so good because
Tolu has called you out. Tolu, this is unfair.
no, it's just like friend. Her name is Nana. She makes like the best jollof rice, literally. And so, and she makes like the shito sauce, and it's just like, oh, Ghana.
No, but shita is really nice though. Like, not to even joke with you, shita
You
is really
see,
nice.
you
It's nice, but you can never compare. Like, I have tasted Ghana jollof before. I'm very particular about jollof rice. I can pass to eat it because maybe I'm hungry, or I'm in a place where I probably, because person is like someone I like, so I can't really say no. So I just take like 2 scoops.
No, if
I
you
just say 2 scoops.
if you try my friend's Nana's, like you
But
would.
our taste buds are different. So
It
that's
is.
one thing that I noticed, that
Yeah.
sometimes when like my husband eats something, he'll be like, "Oh my god, it was really good," and I eat and I'm like, "Okay."
It's true. I know you are not that adventurous with food, if you're being honest.
So it's like you're just calling me out on my life,
No,
like
no. See,
this, like you feel,
no.
guys.
See,
I am in pain.
I'm very adventurous with food, right? So, like, I will eat anything that is good. That's the point, right? Because being like trained culinary, right? Your palate is trained, right? So you can pick up like taste and things like that. So like I won't eat anything that is not good because
No, so,
and my face
that's my
can't lie.
point though. That's my point though. Like
Yeah,
our taste buds are very different. So
yeah,
even when I've gone to someone's house where, or let's imagine, I know someone that cooks here in Edmonton, and the person jollof rice to me was like the best before now. And now when I eat the jollof, I'm like, oh, okay, man, it's okay. It's all right.
yeah.
And for me, it's not like maybe the person has changed, like as a personality. I
Yeah.
just feel probably how the person's making it now is a little bit different.
But
But the
also,
thing is, when someone else eats it, they'll be like, "Oh my god, it was so good," and I'm like, "Okay."
and also our taste buds do change, right? As you grow
Yeah.
older, right, your taste buds change. It does.
No.
I don't,
When you
no,
say older, I'm trying to see
no,
if
as
I have
in,
white hair on my head.
no, as because I work with like elderly people, right? So
I know,
as you
girl.
go older, your taste buds do change, right? And
Yeah.
different hormone changes also, like your taste buds do get affected. If you're sick, your taste buds are affected too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because there might be times, like for the longest time I could not eat watermelon because I ate a bad watermelon when I was 10, right? And
What?
it scarred me for life, right? So I could not eat watermelon up until like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I started eating watermelon again. Yeah. So it depends, right? So it could be like you probably had like a bad, you know, a bad batch, and it just ruined everything else for you.
I can't believe that someone doesn't like watermelon.
No. Now it's refreshing and delicious.
No, no.
But like for the longest time, I could not. I had a bad one when I was younger, right? It was not like it was like there was just something about it that was not good, and it just triggered.
Well, I think you're correct, because I remember when I was younger, my auntie prepared ikokore for me. Ikokore is the food that some Ondo sects eat. I don't know what they use to prepare it, but I know that till now, mentally, I can still taste it.
Yeah.
And it is still nauseating as the day I first ate it.
And
So,
it's probably delicious, but because your mind has already like been scarred from that one experience, you probably won't be able to. Yeah.
So the COVID situation has been going on apparently since last year November.
Yes,
and,
it has.
And we didn't, because that's why it's COVID-19, coronavirus disease 2019. But the thing is that people, like in most countries, didn't put measures in place now that it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And my question question is, how do you still, because I know that you're also into like dietary stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
eating healthy also is part of the things that you do. I know that's what part of your job, but eating healthy generally, even when I see your food size or what you eat, it's like a quarter of what most people will eat.
Yeah.
Not calling you out on it, and like you said, eating a lot of vegetables and denying yourself of so many things that normally you will love when you probably eat them before now, and now you're like, okay, you know what, let me just stick to this thing. So
Yeah.
how do you make sure that you're still eating healthy and during this time of COVID, because most people are just eating and they're just trying to like get everything in right now and trying to, you know what, no summer girls, summer's been cancelled,
What?
so there's no point of, so a lot of people have been doing that.
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself mentally and dietarily, if that's a word, occupied in this season?
So fortunately for me, I'm actually still working, right? I still go to work, right? So my routine has not changed,
Okay.
right? Right. So I'm not at home all day, right? So I'm not emotionally eating, right? And I find like, because that's the thing, right? Because you're bored, right? So you're just eating, right? So I'm not home all day, so I'm not emotionally eating, right? So it's not really affected my like eating habits, right? And so like, but for people who are like still at home, right, and like working from home, and I actually don't know, because when I'm at home weekends, I still eat like once or twice the entire day, because you're not hungry, because when you're not moving. Okay, so for example, you eat breakfast, right, and you eat like a heavy breakfast, and you've done nothing all day, you're static, right? The food is still there, right? You're not hungry, right? So I actually don't even won't be able to I won't be able to
No,
give.
no, I'm saying that how should people, because now you talked about emotional eating, like
Yeah.
how do people curb that side of themselves that they know they've had it before, but now, should I say, the COVID is equipping their
Yeah.
taste buds to eat
So
more, right? So
replace it with good habits,
mm,
right? So
mm,
like if now you're eating like 10 times a day, you know, maybe go back to your 3 times, like you used to eat 3 times a day before the COVID, right? And when you like feel that trigger to eat, do something different, right?
mm,
Like because I know like the parks are closed and a lot of people have to stay indoors and everything. Maybe
yeah,
like take a nap, do a dance party, just play some worship jam and just like dance. Then that's such a good idea. So you dance, right? You burn a lot of calories, right? You're
mm,
hungry. You can go eat, right?
true.
Then so you replace it with like other habits, right? So if you're like, I really want to like eat something, maybe like drink a lot of water, you get
Mm,
full, right?
mm.
And there'll be no room
Do you,
for.
do you get food when you take water?
I drink a lot of water. I do. I get full. I drink a lot of water. You get full. I'm serious. But you get hungry later. But you get full. Drink a lot of water. Put like mint in it. So like,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So like put stuff in it. Like boost your water, right? Put mints, put cucumbers, put like lemon in it. Like my friend makes this lemon, like she makes this elixir. Like she's just a native doctor, to be honest. Like, so it's like ginger, honey, and lemon, and she like brews it for like I don't know how long, right? And then once you drink that, like you don't get hungry as quickly, right? You
Yeah.
like it takes, yeah, because it's I
The
don't know what it does.
antioxidants too.
Yeah, it takes a long time for you to get like hungry. So that's what she does. She like basically like makes that, right?
Oh, nice.
And
So,
snack on like healthy things
okay.
like I know it sounds a little cliche, but like kale chips are really good. I had this avocado chips, right? Like it was basically avocado that someone like dehydrated. So like snack on things like that.
And
Um,
that's good fat though. So you can
yeah, it
even eat
is.
avocado in itself.
Yeah,
what they call this thing. I like carrots a lot.
Yeah.
Carrots keep me busy for the longest of
Longest time.
time.
Yeah.
Cashew keeps me busy for the longest of time. Some people have breakouts when they eat nuts, but for cashew I don't. So
But
I think
seeds,
that
you can also do seeds too, like pumpkin
okay.
seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds. All those things are really,
No, that's the non-adventurous side of me. And I'm like,
chia seeds. Those things are really, really like filling, and they're really
like,
super, super like healthy.
oh, that's good. So how do you avoid what do you call it? So how do you cope with business? Because looking at your business, you have to have contact with people one way or the other. Even
Yeah.
though you work alone, but like when I mean baking, but looking at it from the stance of when you have to work or when you have to deliver the cakes and book calling for orders,
Yeah.
how do you still do that work amidst this COVID season? Do people still order for cakes during this COVID season?
Yes, because people are at home. Who are at home, and like small businesses and restaurants are giving like discounts to people, so that they can like so that you can keep your head out of water basically, because
True.
like a lot of like small businesses are suffering this season, right?
Mm.
Because people like mom and pop shops that rely on like people come in during their lunch breaks are really really suffering this season, right?
Mm.
So I know a lot of restaurants are offering like a discounted rate. They're offering
Yeah.
deliveries, pickups. So with me, right, it's just making sure that everything is like safe basically.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
if you come in to like pick up, if you come in, if we're doing a delivery, it's just dropping it at your door, and just telling you your stuff is here, and
Okay.
working in a clean, organized like way, because the COVID, the virus does,
Stay
it
on
falls on,
surfaces stuff.
it stays on surfaces up to 3 to 4 hours. So making sure like your surfaces are sanitized, and just because people put trust in you, right? Because
Yeah.
they're trusting that if we get food from you, we won't get sick, right? So making sure
Yeah.
that you yourself do the due diligence, making sure
Yeah.
your spaces are cleaned. Because I work from like I bake from home because I'm a home baker, right? So just making sure that everything is your surfaces are clean and organized, right? And then with pickups, like because it's just like anything else, doing like your due diligence, right? If you have to wear gloves, put on gloves. If you have to wear masks, put on masks. Just making sure that you're following all the guidelines, right? Because
Mm.
one bad review could affect like drastically a small business, right? So just making sure as a small business owner, you're doing your due diligence and making sure that you put the needs of your clients and their safety above all else.
So there was something I remember we are talking about, I think a couple of days ago, I
Yeah.
think it was like 2 weeks ago, and which it comes to small businesses and finances, because I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people right now are stuck in that place of money is not coming in, they have bills to pay,
Yeah.
some that have staff have to let go of their staff or have to pay them like half of whatever it is or tell them to go.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. And all that happens. But there's something that we're talking about, which I think it will be good for others to hear about it, and which is separating your personal stuff from your business, because a lot of people generally it's like a Nigerian thing. I remember that when I was younger, women that would have shops, their children want to buy something, they'll be like, oh, check inside the shop bag,
Yeah.
you'll pick money. Check inside everybody checks inside the shop bag to buy something, to go to school, to buy stuff for the house. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, most of the time, people don't know the difference between their actual profits
Yeah.
and actually what they make when it comes to like costs, and how much their service. Here your service is important. It's
Yes.
per hour, right?
Labor. Yeah. Labor is most of it.
Labor is expensive here, so people don't remove like this is the cost price, this is the service price, and this is my profit.
Yeah.
Then you now jam that money with your business money and everything comes together. So how do you manage that in this season when you don't have regular flow? How do you still keep your head above water, separating personal money from business money?
Okay. So I have two accounts, right? I have Honey and Grace's account and I have my own account, right? So if I take money from Honey and Grace's account, I'm stealing money from Honey and Grace, right?
Mm.
So that's how I tell myself I'm stealing money from Honey and Grace, right? So right
Mm.
now, because I don't go like the banks are like super long lines and all that stuff, right? So I have like like a piggy bank basically where
Oh,
I keep,
nice.
yeah, where I keep Honey and Grace's money, right? And I don't touch it, right? So if there's like something that I really, really need to get, it's not for Honey and Grace, I don't get it, right? So
Mm.
just making sure that, because this COVID is gonna end, right?
It
And
is.
it's gonna very soon, right? So if you spend all your business money on like, you know, on like all these things, that like there might be needs like like necessary things, right? But I feel like maybe spend your own personal money if you have on these things, right? And
Yeah.
just not touch your business money, right?
Mm.
Because this because when the business starts back up again, you can pay yourself back,
Yeah.
right? But if you've spent all your business money, right, and you just so you heavily rely on your personal money, right,
Mm.
and that could be like troublesome, right? If
Mm.
you know personal needs come and then business needs come, and
Mm.
you're torn, right? But if you still have that business money and you've not touched it, right,
Mm.
you at least you can help out, right? And
Mm.
when like the business picks up, you can pay your personal self back for all like so like
All
I
the expenses you went through.
yeah, yeah. So right now, right, with the orders that I get, I'm using my own personal money, right? So I'm
Mm.
self-funded, right? So I don't touch Honey and Grace's money, right? And even when I get paid, right, I still don't touch Honey and Grace's money, right? So I put it back. I put it the money that I get paid for the services to Honey and Grace, right?
Mm.
And then so hopefully when this whole COVID ends, right, soon, and business picks up, I will be able to pay myself for all these things. But right now I don't touch Honey and Grace's money. I keep all my receipts, right? Because as a small business, you could also put those things as under tax deductibles, right?
Yeah.
So all your expenses, you can get tax deductibles from it, right? So
Mm.
just making sure that you separate that personal finance and business finance. Also, registering your business helps, right? Because if your business
Mm.
is registered, it's easy to get like
Mm.
all these.
There's a weird noise I'm hearing.
Yes, my building, they're doing construction. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a construction going on. So, and because
Okay.
most people are not around during the daytime, right? So, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so just keeping those two worlds separate is really the best suggestion that I would give anyone at this time. Um, yeah.
So one thing that I believe that to take home from what you just said is one, discipline; two, separate your wants from your needs. And three, understand that you taking from your business is like you stealing from it.
It
And
is.
and you stealing from it means that you won't have that much money as much as when you bounce back into business and when business starts up again.
Yeah.
But my question now is, how do you balance up when it comes to, like, I know that a lot of Nigerian small business struggle with pricing.
Yeah.
I had my very first guest this month. As Zainab was saying something that she had to learn in a very hard way,
Yeah.
is that she had to be putting an amount to lateness. And I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, we had a conversation like months ago, and she said on the show again, and I'm like, why? And she said she had opportunities where she probably could like talk to these people or have a chat with these people, or they could easily call her. And she gave an example of a client that said, I'll come make my hair by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So she woke up 7, made sure everything was clean and ready for 7:30. She said she just got her day grooving, and she sat down waiting for the client. It was 8 o'clock, 8:30. She said she now told her mind that maybe she told her 9 o'clock. So she
Yeah.
chilled again till 9 o'clock. It was 9:30. It was 10 o'clock. It was
Yeah.
10:30. And at 10:30, this client texts and say, "Oh, are you still at home?" And in my head doesn't poof.
Yeah.
Because by then I won't even bother. Like I will just go back to bed and sleep. Like
Yeah.
I will not bother my head. And she said the lady didn't come in until about 11:30, and she had left the house because since 8 o'clock till 11:30, three
Yeah.
and a half hours I waited for you. You didn't call. Like let's even imagine you woke up late. Oh,
Yeah.
hi Z. This nothing like that happened. And she said from that particular time, she said people had to pay booking fee. So if
Yeah.
you're coming to make your hair, let's say your hair is $150, you
Yeah.
pay your regular booking fee of $50, and
Yeah.
it's non-refundable. If
Yeah.
you're late, $30 gets pulled out of it. If you're not late, then your booking fee is there and you pay the remaining. But
Yeah.
I felt it was smart that no pain, no gain. If you cancel, if you don't show up, then you pay, you lose your money.
Yeah.
But I noticed that most Nigerian businesses struggle with things like that. Either they cancel last minute, I mean like the customer,
Yeah.
or they price you so low that you kind of even estimate your life
So
and your life
yeah.
savings.
So with
So
me,
how do you deal with pricing?
like I know, like I don't know if it's the Yoruba or the Igbo side of me, but
I think it's the Igbo side.
one of the above side of me, right? When it comes to like money and like
Yeah.
costs, I always say the same thing. Whoever is meant to be your client will be your client. And because what I'm doing, right, is I account it with my worth. You're paying for my worth, right? You see, there are millions of bakers out there, right? I don't know if there are millions, but there are tons of bakers out there, right?
Yeah.
And you choose, you weigh out all your options, right? And you choose to come to me, right? So that means I'm meant to bake for you, right? When I give you a price, right, the price includes, like, I break down everything, right? Includes my labor, includes the cost of everything that I'm, like, the cost of the goods that you're buying from me, right? Includes my packaging, right? Includes like sometimes I would include like electricity, like, because that is part of.
So sorry to interject. So do you put that in the receipt to the customer, or you break it down yourself, but you tell the customer the price?
I tell the customer the price, right? And
Okay. Hi, sis.
I always say it range. So I give you a price range, right? And that price range is every possible thing has been added to it, right? So I always give the customer a choice, right? So I would do this between this price and this price, right? The least price also includes all that stuff, right? Just maybe like my labor, I put my labor a little, right? So I lowered my labor, right? And like the most price, you get my full worth, right?
Yeah.
Like for this cake that you want, this is I will give you the best at this price, right? I can give you the cake at this price, right? Again, right? And just knowing that when they decide, right? And most people usually go in the middle range, right? Right. So if you go, it's between $60 to $70. Most people go with that 75, right? So 65, and I find most people tip you, right? So yeah, yeah. It's just Nigerians that don't tip, but I'm not going to talk about that. But most people tip you, right? So at least it balances out, right? But with pricing, never undersell yourself. I always tell, because I did it once. I made this gorgeous cake for this lady.
Gorgeous.
Right?
And the cakes are always gorgeous, guys.
Like this one I did, because I hate using, so I don't work with fondant for cakes. I just strictly I don't like fondant, right? You can't even eat it anyway. It's just rubber.
True,
right?
it's rubber.
So I
It's
don't work
sugar and stuff.
it's not anything good to me, right? So I don't use fondant at all, right? So all my cakes are strictly butter or chocolate, right? So this lady wanted a fondant cake, right? So I initially, like, that's why it's good to pay attention to, like, the Holy Spirit in your
Details.
heart, right? Because it, like, I was just like, I don't want to do this cake. Like, I can't be bothered at this point, right? And saying no as as a small business owner is so good, right? Knowing your boundaries, just say no, right? I know, like, everyone is struggling, we're broke and all that stuff, but like, like what you have to know, you have to know your worth, right? You have to
Yes.
know what you will do that will make you, bring you joy, right? Or what you will do that at the end of the day you end up hating. So this cake, right, to begin with, hated. I didn't want to do it, right? But I was like, I could really use this money right now, and I could really use this exposure right now, right? So I was like, okay. So I gave her the price range for the cake, right? And this lady was just like, no, that's too much. I can't pay that. And usual me would have walked away, right? But because you're just like, again, I was new to the city, right? So I'm just like, let me get my feet wet and let me, like, you know. And I was like,
I
okay.
see my global.
Hi. So I was like, okay, you know what? Sure, I'll make this cake for you. Then this lady now added meat pies to the order. And again,
Holy Ghost.
so I hate making meat pies, mostly because just that dough, and it's so tedious. There's nothing really exciting about it other than eating it, right? So so I gave her the pricing for the meat pie. She was like, no. That price is too much and all that stuff. I was like, but I was just like, you know what? It's good exposure. Again, as a small, like, we need to stop, like, we need, as small businesses, we need to stop this it's good exposure thing, right? So I did this cake, right? I used fondant that I never used. It was my first time using fondant, right? So I was like, you know what? At least the most I'll get a learning experience from this order, right? That's what I told myself, and I did learn. I'm serious. I did learn, right?
I know.
I learned a lot of things I'm gonna tell you about. So I was like, okay, I'll gain a learning experience from this order. I learned, right? So I made this cake, right?
Let me check.
You know, I made this cake, and the entire time, like, why I remember this cake out of all the cakes that I remember is because I I hated it. It was a beautiful cake, right? Like,
Oh my God.
it's like one of, like it's like top 10, one of, like, the most beautiful cakes I've made, right? But every step of the way I complained, right? Like, I complained, and I, like, that's one of the things that God has been working on me with, is complaining, right? Murmuring, grumbling, complaining, right? Because a lot of times when I bake, I'm in my zone and I just play worship music and I'm just there, right? But I could not do this for this cake. I complained so much.
I think it's the
Then,
spirit behind the cake.
then, like, to make it worse, this woman was also, like, close to 10 hours late to come pick up her cake. I kept saying, come get your cake out of my house. Like, it became, like, the cake started to, like, irritate me, right? And that's when I realized that I sold myself. First of all, I undercut myself. I made no profit, made all loss, right? Emotionally, I was drained. Spiritually, I was
I
so
was drained.
heavy. I was drained, right? So it made me
Oh my
realize that
God.
it was not worth it, right? Like, I know it's a really beautiful cake. And funny enough, that cake is not on my website. It's a beautiful cake, but I like, everyone sees the cake and they're like, this cake is just cake. But to me, it was just like, this
It
cake,
was torture.
it took a lot out of me, right? And if, like, I can
Okay.
love, like, if it was like, I don't know what it was, but it just, the heart behind it, my heart was not in it to begin with, and it just suffered the entire, like, the entire way. And I was just like, I was so miserable with this whole thing. Like, when the
Yeah.
woman, when she came and took her cake from my house, like, it was just like the clouds opened and it was like a ray of sunshine, right? And I'm just like, why keep doing that to myself, right? So the lessons that I learned from that cake order, and that was the last time I ever undersold myself, right? So one, I learned that I will not undersell myself. If I give you my price and you can't afford it, it's okay. I always recommend people that I've worked with that I know that could possibly do,
within that same price range.
yes, but like most of the people that I know won't, because the person that trained me, she's actually brilliant, right? She always oversells herself, right? She like her worth is like, she's like, I don't like, she always oversells herself, right? So just even having that mindset, right? It's better to oversell yourself and then come down to your level than to undersell yourself, right? So
And
that's
now
what
not take anything out of it.
so that's what I learned from that order is I always I will not undersell myself. My contribution, what I make is what you're paying is what you're valuing me at, right? So the price I give you is what I value myself at, right? If you go lower, you're telling me that you do not value
My
what you don't value my worth, right? So that I built confidence with that. I would not undersell myself. I would not devalue myself, right? And I also another thing I learned is that I'm not doing anti uncle with you, right? Business is business is business, right? If 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 you can't afford it, it's okay, right? I grew confident to say no, right? No is like the best, like, because the people that will value you, like I always say, it's like the gift is not meant for you, it's meant for someone, right? So the
yeah.
people that are going to benefit from those gifts, right? God is so merciful and so loving, he will bring those people to you, right? Doesn't
Very
mean
true.
that you sit down and just be lazy and not do anything, right?
Yeah.
Work on your skills, perfect your skills, right? I made many free cakes, right? But I know that I'm learn please don't look at me that way, but like I'm learning, right, as I'm making and growing more confident, right? But when it comes to like business, right, just knowing your worth, right? Because if you undersell yourself, like I said, like it's so much, it's so much, it's more painful, right? And then when I tell people, right, about like, and I also pay for people's worth, right? Right? Because like I know how it hurts not to like, I know how it hurts to be like, this is the price I told you, and you go, can we go,
Undermined. That hurts.
like, and there's some stuff that is like ridiculously priced, right? But there's some stuff that, like, for small businesses, it's never ridiculously priced, like, because they're like, they put in so much into their stuff, and everything like done by small businesses is one person, it's mostly one person, right?
Yeah.
And their heart and soul is in that, right? And if you choose to support small businesses, right, choose to support them in with their like, with what they're telling you to, because like no small business owner like ever has the sense that I'm going to overcharge everyone, to make like all this money kind of thing, right? No one ever goes into it that way, I think, right? They always go into it with like, I'm just I'm trying to do the best I can, support me kind of thing.
So I remember that when I sent Seyi the flyer for this show,
Yeah.
she was like, "Oh, we won't be like very serious. I didn't understand it." And I kept saying it's just like a chill conversation and stuff. And I am looking at Instagram telling me we had just 1 minute left, and I am cringing in my head because I still have more questions. But
my response is always nerves before, but God is working on me.
hallelujah, hallelujah. But before you, I'll let the counter run down so that
Yeah.
I'll bring you back and we'll kind of summarize or zoom everything together so that I can allow you to go back to work.
Yeah.
But what you said is really true, because I've personally struggled with people that feel like, let me just get the money like you did the other time.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get the money, let me just get the experience, let me just get the clients. But for me, people remember how undercharged you have I want to charge you, but to charge yourself. I'll use that
Yeah.
word. And people never forget. And the bad thing about the African community is we never now tell the truth about, oh, to be very sincere, this is the person's price, but the person gave me a very good discount. You can ask the person.
Yeah.
But what we do in the African community is we exactly say, call Seyi, she will do it for you for $50.
No, I always tell people I'm expensive. That's how I start. I straight up tell people. No, I'm serious. I straight up tell people that I'm super expensive because again, someone taught me that, right? She goes, I'm super, like I'm super.
Okay, so we have 5 seconds. We have
Okay.
5 seconds. It's gonna go off and now we'll come back.
Yeah. No, I tell people I'm super expensive.
On session with Seyi Farinu, and she's the CEO of Onion and Grace Home. They bake everything beautiful. And to be very sincere with you, I'm super excited this month. This month, what we just did basically for the show is to have just female CEOs come on the show and share their experience, business to immigration to the COVID season, to how they've been coping in their business, to how to balance their finances in their business. And Seyi has been awesome-tastic. Like, I've never seen this side of her though. Like minus my normal girl, like normal chats with her, I've never seen this very businesswoman side of you, to be very sincere. And it's really nice, not to be very sincere with you, it's really nice to see that you're balanced. It's not just, and like you said, don't never undersell yourself to get a client.
No.
The moment you do that, you won't even sustain it. And that's a very, very big problem a lot of people have when it comes to even services.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, I'll already just tell you that I'll be there, or like I'll come to that place. I will not. It's very bad for you to have a business and not understand your worth, which was what you said.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know your worth as a business owner, if you don't understand that, oh, Pastor is there. Hi, Pastor VK. Hi, Dami. Hi, Tobbs. It's very important for each person to understand that. Like, funny enough, I wanted to ask you what's like the worst client you've had that maybe I should still ask that question, because you have you had someone that will order a cake, say they will pay, and they never show up? Or what's the what's your worst experience when it comes to clientele?
I've not had anyone order I've not had anyone order something and they won't pay.
Okay.
I really thank God for that, right? I've not had I've been really with this business, like, because I've heard a lot of like horror stories of people, but I've been really blessed, right? And that's because, again, coming to that realization that it's not about me, right? As much as, it's, I own the business, or I'm a custodian of the business, basically, right? So it's not about me, right? So I've not had anyone like order something and I have like made this whole thing and then they didn't pick it up, right? And plus that will never happen because I always do a deposit before for like big orders, right? I get paid basically 80% of it like a month before, right? So
Nice.
yeah, so like for like wedding cakes, like big wedding cakes, I get paid like 80% of it before the wedding, so a month before, right? So that I know like where you're at with that.
So talking about wedding cakes, I remember having a guest, and I can't remember the exact topic. We're having a conversation. Yeah, it was Sunshine Events Planner.
Yeah.
And we're talking about wedding planning and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember that someone in the comment section, I actually don't even know the person, and the person commented on and said she just jumped on Life Matters page and she was watching, and she remembered that she went for this wedding and it was a very close friend of hers wedding, and I think she was part of the bridal party. And unfortunately, what happened was the person baking forgot that that day was the wedding.
And they didn't make the cake.
And she was not good. And she was not. And the worst thing was she was not going to return their money. So she said she was going to bake extra cakes for them and send it to them after the wedding. And I'm like, Wait, how did that happen? Like,
No,
I don't know.
like no, like that kind of thing. That is like a breach of contract, right?
Yeah.
Like if you know, like I've had an occasion, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
I had this cake order for a wedding. I think it was 6 months in advance, right? And um, that was when I was in Toronto, right? So I had a cake 6 months in advance. The wedding was in June, right? So the wedding was supposed to be like the last Saturday of June, and in May, no, in the beginning of June, I found out I was gonna move to Vancouver,
Okay.
right? So I had like 2 weeks to move to Vancouver, right? And I had a wedding cake a week. That was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a week after I moved to Vancouver, like so. And like I had to. I called immediately, right? And I was like, I'm so so sorry. Like I felt so bad. Like I emailed the lady. I felt so so bad, because I'm just like, and she had not paid me because she messaged me, right? Because she was like, oh, when am I paying? Because I get paid a month before, right? The wedding, right? So she's like, oh, can I send you the deposit and everything? And that was when I remember that, oh my goodness, I move in, right? Because I put it in my calendar, but for some reason, like, I didn't intend to move to Vancouver, right? It was not, like at the beginning of the year, it was not part of like the things that I was going to do, right? So I really didn't intend, right? So when the lady messaged me, like, oh, I'm ready to pay the deposit and everything. I remembered. I was like, oh my god! So I sent her like this long email apologizing, and I recommended like a whole lot of people, right? And I messaged like because they're my friends, right? I called my friends and were like, so I have this wedding cake order that I completely forgot. Please, please, please. This was the price I told the person I was going to do it at. Is there any way you could like do it at like that price, right? Just just a favor kind of thing, right? And I really so I apologized to the lady, gave her so many options, right? Of
Yeah.
these are the people, right? You go with, right? Because now that cake lady, right? No one is going to use her anymore. Because the thing
True.
about wedding planners, they're very powerful, right?
Yeah.
And because they're a very small circle, and they all talk, right? And they all share stories, right? And they're not going to use that. They're not going to use her anymore, right? So her credibility is already been shot, right? So, like, yeah, no, she should have refunded them the money, right? Because
Yeah.
and it's plus, it's just a good thing to do. Like, I know not
On
everyone,
their wedding day, like I think it's sad enough that I personally blame the planner and the woman,
yeah,
because for me I feel like the plan should have been at least the week before the wedding. You should have
yeah,
called the first meeting, had the woman, okay, so where are you at, what are you
where's
baking,
the
give me a
cake?
breakdown. So I think the planner also did not do a great job, but that
Yeah,
was what we're just talking about, that even though as much as aunties and uncles plan your weddings, make sure that things that are very important to you, you're on top of them, because
yeah,
you never know what will happen. um
yeah.
but
Because
yeah, I
life
think,
life happens, life
yep,
happens, right?
yep,
Like the lady might have had like a valid reason for forgetting, but I personally feel she shouldn't have like she should have just given them back their money because
yeah,
a
yeah,
service was not rendered, right?
yeah.
And plus, like supposedly the happiest day of their life, you basically you, you
let's
basically
let's let's not even go to that.
you basically you
because
basically
because
ruined
for
it.
me, and I think that also, I remember that when I was planning my wedding, it was I'm not really big. I didn't even taste my cake. All the cakes that were baked for all, I had 3 cakes.
Yeah,
I didn't taste one. I was not really super big on cake,
yeah,
because I felt like, what's the point? It's just the picture and the video
yeah.
and stuff that makes it look very hoo-ha. So for me, I told the lady, I'm like, girl, this is the picture I want, but put styrofoam in like almost everything. And I told her that I didn't want no dumb cake, never styrofoam. It was
Yeah,
dumb
and no,
cake.
it is styrofoam.
Yeah. So I told her, I said, please, I want the base to be cake. I want the top to be cake. Every other part should be the dumb cake. I don't because I'm not gonna eat it. The base I'm gonna like you know how normally they share that they give the family of the bride one, they give family of the groom one.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's pretty like that in Nigeria. Same, but for the engagement cake, the family of the bride takes it. So for me, I was so not bothered about it. Then my friend from Rwanda also baked a cake for me. She baked a birthday cake for me, but I told her to put 60 on it because both my new dad and my mom were 60 that same year. So we're like, let's all just do like a birthday kind of thing.
Yeah.
But personally, I think that some things are not, cake is not one input. Like for me, makeup too was not super like as much as I really wanted it. My makeup was super amazing, and the artist she was the best. Like I can't even like I've been talking about her to everybody that wants to do wedding. But personally, I just thought about it. Makeup is something that's after I finish, I'm wiping everything off.
Yeah.
So you will not hear that I paid 500,000 for makeup. That's back a plot of land in Lagos or in somewhere in Ibadan. You get so that was how I kind of did my budgets. And so when it comes to wedding cakes, right? What would you say should be your go-to as the bride when choosing your wedding cake?
So if you're a bride that loves cake, go with cake. Like for example, me when I get married, it'll be like a small single layer tiny cake, right? And there'll be a lot of dessert, right? A lot of variety of dessert, right? So because it's traditional to go with like 10 tiers of cake, that doesn't mean you should go with 10 tiers of cake. If you and your, like the lady that I was talking about that I was supposed to make her cake, she wanted a single tier cake and she wanted cake pops and cupcakes because she knows that they're not cakey people, but something they can grab, right? They're good with that, right? So as a bride, I feel like I know it's traditional to have, but like whose tradition is it when you think about it, right? If your thing is you love cake, right? Then do cake. Like go all out, have like, and you know that you're gonna eat all that cake because it hurts when like you bake like 10 tiers of cake and only one.
I didn't even taste any.
Like it's not worth it, right? So as a bride, I would suggest that do what you want, right? If your thing is cake, then do cake. If you don't like cake like me, do a small cake to cut for the pictures, right? And then just do the rest like dessert table. If you want a big cake for the pictures, then do big cake, right? But if you're gonna do all real cake, have like agree with like whatever your vendors is, your hotel, whatever. Someone should just cut the cake because I've been to a wedding where
we spread it around.
They
we
cut
give
all
the bouncers, we give
everyone,
the wall, we give everybody. Like,
so everyone gets the cake, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically what you want, not because like tradition is to have 10 layers of cake, and you know that you're not a 10 layer of cake person, you know. Just do like, because at the end of the day, it's just like, maybe it's because I'm not married, right? It's just one day. Right.
No, but it's the truth. It's just one day, and you do it. It's the journey. I think people get cut because I'm a dessert person, right?
Yeah.
And I also asked myself, there were so many things that people wanted us to do for the wedding, but the question was, who is it for? Is it for me or for the guests? Yeah. It's for the guests because pack your eat and come and we going. Like that was my mentality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's have a dessert table. Let's have a 360 spin camera. Who is it for? The guests. Because let's just sit down. Left to me, I could do the wedding in my sitting room, but I understood the kind of and I really, like I was telling Sunshine event planner that personally I think I'm grateful that I had two parents from like two parents, but they both agreed with everything we wanted. Like I told them we wanted this number for trad, we wanted this number for the event, like, and they were good with the numbers, you understand? But I know some people struggle with that part where their parents are like, we have 1,000 guests, it's our day. So it was very different for me. Like I didn't even know who came for the wedding until I was watching the video last week. I had no clue because it was a party for me. So I was just doing my
I know, I watched the video.
I was jumping, I was dancing, and
We know,
everybody
we saw it. We saw it. we
so I
saw
would say
it.
have fun. It's just one day, like
Yeah.
have fun. Just
Yeah.
have fun. But
Yeah.
but
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like never like, because I see a lot of pictures where like their faces are just like both of them just look so lost. And like, because I have one of my friends, when she got married, right, I like, I know she didn't take anything, but I feel like she took a Xanax because she was just so relaxed, right? Like nothing phased her, right? Like nothing phased her. Like people were like arguing over like rice. She was just like this, like her entire, like the entire day she was just like I think she probably prayed a lot before, right? So she was just unfazed by like it was so
No,
it was so
I think that
beautiful.
one of the things I was telling Sunshine Event Planning also, Abigail, and I was telling her that to be very sincere with you, if you have an event planner, the
Yeah,
number one, the golden rule was nobody comes to the table to say anything to me.
yeah,
Nobody. For food, I knew that it was like my guardian that was in charge of food,
yeah,
and I personally had 300% confidence in her work.
yeah,
So I really did not care how people will like, oh, I knew that number one, food was gonna be surplus, drinks were gonna be surplus. So there's some things that I already knew in my heart. But the number golden rule was nobody comes to this table to ask or say anything, except if like they're my guests that they're leaving and we need to take pictures. You understand?
yeah,
Like at some point, some people from Lagos were already leaving, so they had to take pictures of a couple of them. Some had already gone. I didn't see them, but to be very sincere, I think that it's important that each bride, like you said, knows what's important to them and
yeah,
sticks. Like if cake is important to you, if it's not, do it. Like I didn't feel it was necessary to do desserts. I think it was another extra 80K or well, one very expensive price. I'm like,
yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
yeah, that's why I say it's not important to me. It's important to
Yeah,
me. If it's
yeah,
important to me, I would do it. But it's not. It wasn't important,
yeah,
right? So I think that like it's important. But so that those that just joined also have a feel of what we said before. A couple of the things that Seyi also shared with us is making sure that as a business owner, on the customer side, please value your
your work.
as on the customer side, please value
Okay.
the person's work, and as the
Yeah,
client or as the baker or the business owner yourself,
yeah,
value yourself, value your worth. It's
yeah.
very important. Separate personal money from business money. If you're taking from your business money to feed your personal
You're
self, you're
stealing. You're a
stealing.
thief, and it's a
You're,
sin. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not steal." Like you're stealing, legit, legit. You're stealing. Like no, you're
yeah,
stealing.
so she also advised that you register your business, make sure that you're like, for us that tax is very important here. Please make sure you pay your
Pay your
taxes, file your
taxes.
taxes.
Yeah.
Another thing she said, that don't change yourself because of the clients. Don't
No.
say my auntie, my uncle. Make sure that you already count the cost, just like the Bible says, count the cost. Make sure that you remove your cost, your service price, your
Yeah.
energy price, whatever it is that you're adding to it,
Yeah.
and give the person a price range that they can work with. And if
Yeah.
they're your clients, like she said, if they're your clients, they are your clients. If
They
they're
are
not,
your clients, right? Like if they're not, they're not, right? The people who
right.
like, there's sometimes that I've made like cakes like for people, and I've just been like, I feel bad. But then they go, oh my goodness, this was so good. I'm just like, we talking about the same thing, right? They're like, oh my goodness, this was so good. Thank you so much. I'm like, there was this cake I made for this guy that it's just like a random person on Kijiji
Yeah.
and everything that I made a cake for, right? And like when I delivered the cake, they were like, oh my God, this is so great. I didn't know it was gonna be like, I was just like, look at the same cake. And then he now tipped me. Like, I was like, okay. So knowing that the people who are going to be your clients will be your clients, and the people who are not will not, right? So just don't. And I find that people who are, like, a lot of my work is based on referral, right? Because it's different in BC with like advertising. I've not really gotten the hang of it yet, but in Toronto, it was so much easier to advertise your business. Like there were so many platforms that you could advertise from, right? But here it's slightly different, and I've not yet, because I moved here less than a year ago, so I don't know the ins and outs yet. But with Toronto, it was so much easier. Like,
well, I think the very common ones are like number one, Facebook business. Like I sold stuff on Facebook
yeah.
Marketplace. There's Kijiji. There's
But
and
with
that thing you
food,
can
it's
also do.
different. With food,
Yeah,
it's
no,
different,
so
right?
it is different, but one thing they do on Facebook also in their market spaces is that you
Yeah,
have different categories of a city. Or like
yeah,
for Edmonton, now there are people that sell just baby stuff, there are people that sell just books, there are people that sell just baking stuff. So it's important for you to know where your city's market is,
yeah.
so that you understand where
Where,
to kind
yeah, yeah.
of
Like
build
it's
towards.
yeah. So like with Vancouver, I've not yet really gotten the hang of it yet. But I
Yeah.
know, like by God's grace, before this summer, because like in my heart, COVID is going to end before summer, so we can
Amen.
so we can start doing like flea markets and all that stuff, right? So
Oh, that's
just
good.
yeah.
But guys, we had too much fun today. I actually can't believe that we did more than 1 hour
I
because
know,
uh,
like I thought it was gonna be like an awkward like 5 minutes. And I was just gonna be like no joke. I'm like Holy Spirit, please help me. I don't know what to do.
no,
So
but that's the good thing. Like most of my guests always have that, even the very big ones, so
yeah,
like the very big ones in quotes, and they'll be
yeah.
like, okay, send me the list of questions, send me the, and I'm like, y'all be surprised. And it's always super chill. So but
Yeah,
yeah, I
no,
think it's just God that just helps us navigate
yeah,
like
yeah,
around this.
it is,
Because
because
if
I
you
like,
asked me 30 minutes ago, or like
yeah,
let's say 1 hour 30 minutes ago, what I was gonna ask you, I probably would say
yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you stuff around.
No, I didn't know what to expect. So I full on like prayed. Well, no, because I really like, because I'm like into this habit of just like asking God to like, just like asking the Holy Spirit to help me with like everything. Because I like my first response, like I said, is always like nerves at first and fear.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to gradually, like with God's help, replace that, fear and nervousness response with like courage and like, because usually I would have just been like, no,
But you
right?
were amazing, guys. Put a hand together for my guest today. She has been super, super amazing. But
Thank
just
you.
before you go, can you
Yeah.
tell people where they can reach you, where they can get orders from? Do you
Yeah.
make cake and deliver it outside Vancouver? Just
Yeah.
give us an elevator selling
Uh,
1 minute
uh,
elevator
my
selling
my
point.
my 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 pitch. Okay, so my website is it's almost done. It's www.honeyandgracepastries.ca, right? My Instagram is at Honey and Grace House, and my personal page is Seyi_Farinu. I do deliver cakes I do ship cakes outside of Vancouver, but I don't ship tiered cakes yet. I'm still trying to figure out how that works. But I do ship like single cakes, like single layer cakes, and not just cakes. I do other pastries like pies, French macarons, cookies, donuts. I make a lot of really, really good donuts. So I do ship outside of Vancouver, and so far I've gone as far as PEI, and it worked out because I do a lot of like testings, right? When I make free cakes, I do a lot of testings and just ship it to like people that I know. So I know I deliver to Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, PEI, Regina, Saskatoon. If you're in Vancouver, it's so much easier. In Victoria too, we could do in the islands. So basically, everywhere in Canada, I can ship. Well, it's single layer cakes, but if I'm able to ship like bigger cakes, I will be able to put that on my website. And you can order from my website. It's honeyandgracepastries.ca. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm always there. ish.
All right. Thank
So
you
yeah,
very much, Shay. We are super, super grateful for
thank
actually
you.
coming, and we had loads of fun and we learned a lot that I feel like people should rewatch. And normally after the show, I do like a summary of what my guest says also. So watch out for that. But thank you very much, Shay, and have a blessed day at work. Please keep safe and
Thank you. Yes, I have to go to work now.
bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Oh, guys, I had too much fun today, and I'm super glad that I had my guest on the show today. She was able to shed light into a couple of things that I will summarize after the show. But thank you everyone for tuning in today. I'm sure that your day is blessed, and I'm sure that you're gonna have a nice, nice, amazing day today. Don't forget to follow us on our podcast at Life Matters with Anu Adedire. Follow us on Facebook at Life Matters with Anu Adedire, and also on Instagram at Life Matters with Anu Adedire. And for a rewatch of this, you can either check our timeline or check on YouTube at Anu Adedire for our YouTube channel. And please subscribe. Thank you. Have a blessed day. God be with you. God keep you safe, and y'all keep safe also. God bless you. Bye.